Hi, my name is Alison Kinney, spelled ALISONKAINNEY. And I live at 8 Woodrow Lane, Port Deposit, Maryland. My zip code is 21904. Good evening, Mayor Burdett and Commissioners of the Town of Bel Air. My name is Alison Kinney, and I'm from Port Deposit, a small town in Cecil County, Maryland. I ask that you support a resolution in support of the ban on fracking, statewide ban on fracking, also known as a moratorium put in place in May 2015 will expire this October, amid mounting evidence of the negative effects of fracking on public health and the environment. Proponents of fracking claim it is a, quote, bridge fuel that can help us transition to a green energy future. But quite simply, that is a myth pushed by the oil and gas industry. Scientific evidence continues to mount about the potential of fracking to both intensify and hasten the climate crisis. Although burning of natural gas to produce electricity releases about half as much carbon dioxide, CO2, as burning coal, the CO2 reduction is offset by the leakage of methane during the process of drilling, fracking, and processing, transporting the gas to the power plant. Degrading much faster in the atmosphere than CO2, methane is pound for pound more efficient at trapping heat. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change estimates that a pound of methane traps 87 times as much heat as a pound of CO2 in the 20 years after being emitted, and 36 times as much heat as a pound of CO2 over a 100-year time frame. When the entire life cycle of producing natural gas is examined, the damage from methane leakage puts it on par with coal or worse. Proponents of fracking also claim that fracking creates jobs that can be made safe through regulation. In a theoretical world, those arguments might be valid, but not in the real world. In some instances, fracking can bring a short-term economic boost, although that is exaggerated because most of the good jobs go to workers brought in from elsewhere, and royalties to landowners tend to be lower than expected after the first year or two of production. Ultimately, though, the communities are left with a heavy price. Rising crime rates, inflation, health risks, overcrowding in schools, more traffic fatalities, overtaxed roads, constant noise, population growth, an eroding sense of community, declining home and property values, in many cases lack of insurance coverage in the event of property damage due to fracking, risk of explosions near homes and schools, and children poisoned by cancer-causing chemicals like benzene. These are all burdens that heavily fracked communities often carry on their shoulders. In many ways, fracked communities have a lot in common with the boom towns of the Wild West. Strong regulations don't carry any assurances because there's a sliding door between government and the oil and gas industry. And because even in a perfect world where oil and gas companies don't take any shortcuts and we're transparent about what they do and what chemicals they use, there's just so much we don't know about fracking and its impact on the earth and on people. Western Maryland is an absolutely beautiful place with a growing economy surrounding tourism, organic and family farms, and recreation. All things that fracking would likely hurt. There are people who are struggling that need real solutions, but fracking is not a real solution. We need to ban fracking and make way for sustainable solutions that work for everybody. Thank you.
Wiliams.
Hello, my name is Wiliams, Wadewiilliams. I live on 4727 Claremont Mill Road, Kalispell, Maryland. 21132. Hello, my name is Wade Williams and I'm a student at Hartford Community College. I'm also a lifelong resident of Maryland, specifically Hartford County. I love Maryland and appreciate its diversity and how special it is. Maryland is one of the few states that have a combination of the majestic Appalachian Mountains, large rolling Piedmont, and miles of beautiful shoreline. And of course, Maryland hosts the biggest estuary in the United States, Chesapeake Bay. There's just so much to appreciate about Maryland. What I really appreciate is the fact that it hasn't yet been ravaged by the natural gas industry.